Hello and welcome back to the Tom Langford YouTube channel. In today's video, we're going to be doing my Premier League predictions ahead of game week 13. Hopefully off the back of success in game week 12, we can get some more right this game week. Last week, we got the Newcastle game correct, and we also got Nottingham Forest beating Liverpool as well. I don't have as many big shocks in this week's video. However, I do think I'm very confident on what I have predicted. So let's dive into my Premier League predictions ahead of game week 13. Now, the first game of the weekend, we don't have an early kickoff, so we're going to be going through the 3 p.m s. Up first is going to be Brentford versus Burnley. Brentford have only lost one home game so far this season, and that was against Manchester City. Their last two home meetings against Burnley as well have ended in 2-0 and 3-0. Burnley are currently 3 without a win as well, and have only had one away win so far this season, and that was against Wolves, and everybody's beating them, so that doesn't really count. So for me, I'm going to go for a strong Brentford win. I'm going to go 2-0 Brentford. The next 3 p.m. game we're going to go through is Manchester City versus Leeds United. Now, City have won the past 4 meetings between these two sides, with 2 of those wins being a 4-0 win and a 7-0 win as well. However, Leeds have won before. Back in 2021, they did manage to beat Manchester City 2-1 with 2 Stuart Dallas goals. I remember that game. Very good game. However, this season, they've only managed to win 1 of their past 6 Premier League games and have only won 1 away game all season, and that was against Burnley. So again, does that really count? Probably not. Manchester City, on the other hand, they are pretty much just a one-man show right now. It is Erling Haaland. He has contributed to 60% of Manchester City's expected goals so far this season. So I think it is going to be the Haaland show. I think it's going to be the end of Daniel Farke. I'm going big on this one. I'm going a 6-0 win for Manchester City. The next 3 p.m. game we're going to cover is Sunderland versus Bournemouth. Now, the last time these two sides met was all the way back in 2017, and that ended in a 1-0 win for Bournemouth on that day. However, things are very different now within the Premier League. Sunderland currently haven't lost a home Premier League game. Bournemouth, on the other hand, are 3 without a win and have only won 1 away Premier League game so far this season, and that was all the way back in match day 3 against Spurs. Interestingly as well, Bournemouth have also conceded the second most goals away from home this season. So with all that in mind, I'm going for a Sunderland win, and I'm going to go 2-1 to the Black Cats. The 5:30 game is Everton versus Newcastle. In the past 3 meetings, there has only been 3 goals during that period, 2 of those ending in a draw, one a 0-0, the other one a 1-1. Newcastle as well have failed to win away from home so far this season, and I don't really see that changing. I think this is probably going to be quite a drab affair, so I'm going to go for a 0-0 between Everton and Newcastle. The final game on Saturday is an 8 p.m. kickoff between Spurs and Fulham, and interestingly, Spurs have failed to win the last 3 meetings against Fulham, and with pressure building on Thomas Frank right now, I do feel like Fulham maybe potentially could take some points here. However, the last time they did win at Spurs' ground was all the way back in 2013 with a 1-0 win thanks to Dimitar Berbatov. Who remembers that name? An absolute Barclays legend. Interestingly though, Fulham are going to have to kind of overturn their own odds that they've created so far this season. They currently have the 2nd worst away record with only 1 point so far on their travels. However, they're going up against Spurs, who've really struggled at home so far this season. They've actually, interestingly, got the 2nd worst home record in the league with only 1 win at home so far this Premier League campaign, and that came all the way back in August in match day 1 against Burnley. So we're going up against a side that's got the terrible away record versus the terrible home record. Honestly, I don't think I can see a winner, so I'm just going to go for this one, a 1-1 draw. The first game of Sunday will be Crystal Palace versus Manchester United. Interestingly, Palace are 4 unbeaten against Manchester United, and the last time the Red Devils managed to win at Selhurst Park was back in 2020 with 2 goals from Martial and Marcus Rashford. Palace, interestingly as well, are yet to be beaten at home so far this season. Meanwhile, United have only won once on the road. It is 4th versus 6 for expected goals created. I'm honestly thinking that Palace are probably going to extend that run, but I can also see a hell of a lot of goals given how how good these sides have been so far at creating opportunities for their forwards. So you know what? Plenty of goals, but still a Palace win. Let's go for a 3-2 Crystal Palace win for that one. Wolves versus Villa, a mega derby happening on Sunday this weekend in the Premier League. And interestingly, Wolves have only lost one of the last 8 meetings against Aston Villa when they are at Molineux. However, Wolves this season are absolutely dreadful. They have conceded the most goals in the Premier League. They're also yet to pick up their first win of the Premier League season, and that puts them in a very rare category. Only side in England's top 6 divisions to actually not have a win so far as well. So they're really in bad form. However, Villa, on the other hand, are in absolutely great form and have really turned their season around in recent weeks. They've only lost one of their last 9 games as well. For me personally, I think probably Villa are going to break that curse, or that poor run, should we say, at Molineux. I'm going to go for a 2-1 win for Aston Villa. Next up is going to be Nottingham Forest versus Brighton. Now, interestingly, last time these two sides met in the Premier League, it did end up a 7-0 win for Nottingham Forest and a Chris Wood hat-trick at the City Ground. Interestingly as well, since a 0-0 draw between the two sides in 2022, there's actually been 21 goals in their games. So a lot of goals happening kind of, within the history of this fixture. Interestingly as well, Forest have had a really big upturn in form in recent weeks. Off the back of that impressive performance, I do think they're probably going to put in a very positive display. However, Brighton at home this season and in 2025 in general have been a real machine. They are currently unbeaten at home already so far this season and have only lost 2 games at home in the entire of 2025. We're about to enter December as well, so that is a very impressive record. I don't think Forest are probably going to break it, but I do see plenty of goals in this one, so I'm going to go for a 3-1 Brighton win. West Ham versus Arsenal is going to be the final 2 o'clock kickoff we are going to go through in the Premier League predictions video for today. And West Ham, well, in their last 9 meetings versus Liverpool, have failed to win any of them. But the 10th time might be the one that does it, because Liverpool are in really bad form at the moment. Only 1 win within their last 7 Premier League games and back-to-back defeats of 3-0 at the hands of Manchester City and at home against Nottingham Forest last week. The Hammers, on the other hand as well, are currently 3 unbeaten, but they're not keeping clean sheets either. Their last one came back in match day 3. I can see goals in this one, but I still don't think West Ham managed to overturn that 9-game deficit. So I'm going to go for a 2-1 Liverpool win. And the final game completing match day 13 and completing Super Sunday is going to be Chelsea versus Arsenal. Now, interestingly, Chelsea have failed to win the past 7 meetings between these two sides in the Premier League. Their last home win against Arsenal came all the way back in 2018, thanks to an 81st minute winner from Marcus Alonso. And I still think they're probably going to lose again, despite no Gabriel for Arsenal. They only managed to concede 0.04 XG conceded. They've only conceded 4 away from home as well. I honestly think this is probably going to be just an Arteta masterclass against another title opponent. I think they'll shut them out. I think they'll keep it very tight, but probably nab a set-piece goal, as they're the best side for, of course, scoring goals from set pieces and creating opportunities from set pieces. I think it's just going to be a prime Mikel Arteta performance. 1-0 win for Arsenal. I don't see Chelsea overturning kind of, that last 7 meetings. So that is going to conclude today's predictions. 1-0 for Arsenal. Let me know what you think of them down in the comments section. Of course, if you want to see more Premier League predictions and other content on the channel as well, make sure you're hitting that like button and making sure you're subscribing for more content.